Okay, Josh, let's work on Scheherazade.
Sure.
Very famous, probably the most famous percussion snare drum excerpt.
I would say so.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll do the third movement.
Sure.
What I'd like you to do is just play the passage at D, F, and then at G, just straight through,
Sure.
not necessary to count the rests, and we'll talk about it.
Sure.
Very good. What's important in this excerpt, and I'm sure you'll agree in every excerpt, to create the sound of the orchestra in the listener's ear.
Yes.
Whether it's a committee, whether it's just me listening to the NYO tapes, I've got to feel like I hear the orchestra. And you did it very well in the Beethoven. I didn't mention it at all. It was right there. This is a little more challenging because, well, there's a little less music, there's a little less nuance, and you have to create that a little bit.
Yes.
I'd like to start with the last excerpt.
Sure.
And maybe talk a little bit musically first, what type of shape or phrase you might be
Sure.
thinking of.
Yeah. Because every measure is repeating, I think of this like a waltz, like strong, weak, weak, strong, weak, weak. So especially on the second half of the bar where you just have 3/8 notes, I'm thinking the first of the three is stronger and the second two are weaker. So I'm definitely thinking that. So I'm shaping da 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 da. That's the way I'm kind of feeling it, measure to measure, and then from G to H, just kind of moving forward, keeping a steady tempo. Yeah.
Great. Next question, the roll.
Yes.
First of all, the quality of the roll. What type of closed, open?
Yeah, I used to do it with a group of 5 because I thought at the slower tempo I want it to be more dense, but that means starting with left and ending with right, and it didn't help with my flow of the rhythm. So I've changed to just a group of 4 in the buzz roll and let the sticks bounce a bit more. So maybe getting 4 or 5 bounces per stroke rather than less in a group of 5. And not too crushed, but keeping a good sound. Yeah, and not over the 8th notes. So the same dynamic all the way through.
Okay, would you demonstrate
Sure.
all of those elements?
Sure.
Very good. I'd like to say something about that 5, using the 5.
Sure.
If it's a...
Right.
If as an option for you, it sounds great. If you did, maybe there'd be an occasion where you would want the roll a little tighter, or the quality a little bit different. So I think 5 strokes, as you said, start with one hand and end with the other. But I don't play 5 even notes. I'm trying to think in the roll.
Right.
So that's an option. What you're doing sounds very good. Again, the dynamic here is something that's interesting compared to the other passages. It's written piano, so it can afford to be a little louder.
Right.
And again, showing that you know the music. It's I don't know if I'd say it's a tooty passage, but there's some
There's
other
more going
things
on.
going on.
Yeah.
So I want to hear it. I often hear players play too soft.
Okay.
And, we're so concerned with playing quietly on snare drum, but there are times when it's too soft. And you had a good dynamic, good musicality.
Good.
So let's talk about the F and G
Sure.
passage. A good rule of thumb here is that whatever dynamic, you've kind of set the dynamic in the first excerpt, but this is written pianissimo. Again, it's with other instruments, so it's not too quiet. But it should be different than G. So if you can do a little bit softer than G.
Sure.
What I will ask you to do is shorten the drags. You have a wonderful quality there. Your double strokes are beautiful. I'm just wondering if you can make a little bit of that. Let's see if we can make those
Sure.
a little shorter.
Sure.
Closer together, I should say.
Yeah.
That's excellent. What that also does is it lets me hear that rhythm very clearly.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then let's just talk about letter D, that it is the shape of it within each measure. What I hear you doing is
Yeah.
that, aiming very good. That's very important. Also, starting the roll on the second eighth note. That's very important. You won't believe how many times I will hear instead of.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have you do D one last time. Take a chance and move closer to the edge. I know we're aware of perhaps a change in timbre, but let's go for an even more delicate sound in the triple piano. I like the dynamic you started though.
Great.
Very good, Josh.
Great.